At the beginning of the trial, senators will have to make some key decisions. They include whether to drop any of the 20 articles of impeachment against the Attorney General and whether he will have to testify, even if it means asserting his Fifth Amendment rights in public. From the start, Paxton and his legal team have sharply criticized the impeachment, calling it a sham. In response, the House impeachment managers provided new revelations in thousands of pages of documents against Paxton. Attorney General Ken Paxton has argued his re-election to a third term last November is reason enough to dismiss all of the articles of impeachment against him. Paxton said it shows voters knew about the allegations surrounding him and voted for him anyway. He chastised the House members during a public statement one day before they impeached him.
And they are showcasing their absolute contempt for the electoral process.
Paxton's legal team also said the House didn't have enough evidence to support the impeachment articles.
The impeachment articles that have been laid out by the House are baloney. Just so we're clear, the allegations are untrue.
But in their response, Texas House impeachment managers said, quote, Paxton can run, but he cannot hide. Both the Senate and the public are not yet fully aware of how bad Paxton's actions really were. The House then released nearly 4,000 pages of documents from their investigation into Paxton. The Attorney General is accused of abusing the power of his office to benefit himself and Nate Paul, a campaign donor who was under federal investigation and later indicted in an unrelated case.
The House manager's rebuttal here, with solid evidence appearing to support the argument, is no, they didn't. They may have known some things, but they certainly did not know the whole story.
Even though they are not criminal charges, Paxton is accused of constitutional bribery in 2 of the 20 articles of impeachment. In one of them, the House said Paul paid for renovations to the Attorney General's house in Austin. Paxton's executive assistant, Andrew Wicker, told House investigators that he was there when Paxton and the contractor spoke about placing a different countertop in the kitchen, which he believed was, quote, an additional 20 grand or something. Wicker said he heard the contractor say, I will check with Nate. Days later, Wicker said he asked Paxton about it directly, saying, quote, I heard this conversation. It kind of made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. It kind of came across as this type of arrangement, an arrangement in which Nate Paul might have been taking part in the home renovations. Wicker said, quote, General Paxton said that he appreciated me bringing those concerns to him, but he assured me that was not the case. Documents from the House impeachment managers show the contractor doing the work on Paxton's house emailed photos of the work to Paul and a man named Raj at the same company. And those records show on October 1st of 2020, Paxton wired more than $121,000 to Cupertino Builders, a firm whose corporate officer is listed as Raj, who's described as a friend and employee of Nate Paul's. The House says Cupertino Builders wasn't authorized to do business on that day. And that same day, October 1st, House records show Paxton's top hand-picked lieutenants in the office sent him a text telling him that they, quote, made a good faith report of violations of law by you to an appropriate law enforcement authority concerning his relationship and activities with Nate Paul.
What the trial's going to offer is human beings that can say, I was there and I can explain the relationship between all these different dots.
The other impeachment article in which Paxton is accused of constitutional bribery involves Paul hiring a woman the documents say Paxton was having an extramarital affair with. The House has said this made it easier for Paxton to see the woman because she moved to Austin from San Antonio. The documents accuse the Attorney General of using an Uber account under a fake name, a secret personal email account, and burner phones to hide his alleged affair and the extent of his relationship with Paul. House impeachment managers also say, quote, Paxton frequently ditched his security detail so he could meet with Paul and others, and that Uber records reflect drivers picked up Paxton under the alias of Dave P., a block from his home, and ferried him to his lover's or Paul's properties more than a dozen times in 2020. In exchange, Paxton is accused of providing Paul with favorable legal assistance from or specialized access to the Attorney General's office. Specifically, House documents say Paxton used his office to interfere with a federal investigation into Paul, among other things. Paxton's lawyers blasted the large number of documents that were released, saying, quote, House managers and counsel have engaged in a vindictive campaign to destroy the Attorney General's reputation under the guise of secretive proceedings, abusing the impeachment process, attorney-client privilege, this court's gag order, and the voting public's trust in our system of government.
Can't just let it sit out there, and it's going to be along the lines of this is just personal stuff that's being thrown out there to make the man look bad. The problem, though, is that connection back to the underlying relationship with Mr. Paul, and that's where I think the House managers are going to try to keep this going as this case heads into trial.
According to a Dallas Morning News report, the House Board of Managers will call Paxton to the witness stand. The newspaper cited confidential witness lists they obtained. Paxton has also requested 3 Democratic state senators, Nathan Johnson of Dallas, Jose Menendez, and Roland Gutierrez, both of San Antonio, be disqualified from voting to remove him from office because of past statements made against him. But Cole says he believes they will be allowed to remain active members of the jury.